Welcome to another episode of Hair What I'm Saying, the podcast where we untangle the threads of hair care, business, and community. I'm your host, Kinetra, and today's discussion is not just about the strands we style, but the threads that weave through our society. We're diving into the vital topics of knowing your numbers, the dynamics of sharing knowledge versus gatekeeping, creating boundaries as a Black-owned business, and the fine line between what's considered bad customer service. Plus, we'll explore the nuanced spaces of mixed-race salons and how to foster an environment that's safe and inclusive for everyone. Get ready for an insightful journey where we not only discuss the hair on our heads, but the roots of our communities. Welcome to the Hair What I'm Saying podcast. I'm your host, Kinetra Stewart. Today we have a very special guest joining us, Minnie of Shag Noir Salon. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, girl. Thank you for letting us sit and come invade your... y'all, if y'all in Austin, you definitely have to check out this salon space. It's like being in constant sage. It's a whole vibe. I ain't never been to a salon space like this ever.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And unfortunately, we can't bring the whole visual content so you can see how amazing this space is due to a lot of technical issues that I've been having. But we still gonna get this show going.
Yes.
So, Minnie, walk us through your journey. What inspired you to become a hairstylist?
Okay. Oh, well, I think I definitely had the passion as a child. Like I constantly was in hair. I constantly was playing with my hair.
Baby dolls.
Yeah. Like, I started getting relaxers at 5 years old.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
So got a relaxer at 5 and was in the salon. And I think I was really impressed. Like a man was doing my hair. And
so you went and got, your relaxer was a professional relaxer.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Right.
The first relaxer.
Yeah.
That is definitely uncommon.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I just enjoyed that salon space. I think also my aunt was playing around in makeup. She sold Mary Kay, and I was really impressed by all of that. She had the Sam Fine books, the Bobbi Brown books. So even though I was a tomboy growing up,
yeah,
I really, really loved hair and like why we had to change our hair. And then in school, I grew up in Pflugerville, and then I'm seeing people with different hair.
Yeah.
And
what kind of hair?
White hair, straight hair,
oh,
wavy hair. And then, you'd have the reading hour, and I'd constantly want to play in their hair. Can I braid your hair? Can I do this to your hair? Because I had a little brother who was getting haircuts. So I couldn't
you couldn't do his hair?
No. No. And then as I got older, I was constantly like pulling cousins into my closet, going to go get the bar stool. And my dad's like face trimmers and performing haircuts and
OMG.
Yeah. It never left. It's basically one of the reasons why I failed out of college.
Me too.
Yeah, I was not going to class. I was doing hair.
Girl, stop. Not for that reason. I might as well because I was like, this ain't for me.
Yeah.
Like I know what I'm supposed to be doing. This ain't it.
Right.
My
parents were sending me like $50 a week, and I'm like, I could make $50
doing hair with one person.
Yeah.
Yep. So you failed out of college because you was busy making money.
Making money, other collegiate bullshit
activities.
Yeah, for sure.
We all been there.
For sure.
Yes,
but I found myself like not wanting to go to class. It was just a different space, and I didn't really feel that comfortable. But I loved all the hairstyles, and was inspired by seeing different hairstyles on campus and in town. And I'm like, well, I always have access to the hair store. I can go buy hair and see who wants to play. Absolutely.
So how many years of college did you do before you was just like, nah?
Not even one.
Not even one?
No, I left out with a 0.52 GPA. I graduated high school with a 3.4 and left my first semester of college at a 0.52.
Shut the front door.
I was put on academic probation.
Absolutely. So after that, how long did it take you? Did you take like a break? Like, you know what? I need to decompress. Or did you just go straight into hair school? Like, what happened?
No, I came home. My parents were extremely disappointed, but there were some other, things that happened at school that, I just needed to come home and regroup.
Yes.
Get it together. Though I didn't. I didn't at all.
Girl.
I just came home, and I think because I hadn't gotten therapy and started this process of healing with what happened in college, life took a turn.
Yes.
It took a turn, and I went and got a job because my parents were not putting up with me just not working and not supporting myself. So I went and got a job and worked there, I think, for about 6 years. I had several jobs. Like I used to work at Aldo in the mall. I worked at a salon, Bling Salon in Pflugerville, as a shampoo tech for 2 years. And then, I worked at a call center for 6 years.
Yeah.
And
so for 6 years, you had 3 jobs.
Well, not the call center was 6 years. The other jobs, like I said, 2 years at this hair salon.
Oh, yeah, you did say that.
Aldo wasn't that long. I think that I worked there for maybe a year and a half. But yeah, I stayed at the call center because I had got hired on full time and it was steady. I had health insurance, and I got pregnant at 24. And that's after I had my son. That's when I was like, okay, I need to tap back into, I hate this call center. Yeah. I don't want to do any other job but what I knew that I loved. Yeah. And that was hair. And I wanted to learn how to do that professionally. So I was doing it on the side every once in a while, but it wasn't bringing in enough money for me to support myself. And I didn't have the credentials to do it legally, cutting and coloring, stuff like that. Yeah. So that's when I was like, okay, I think at 25, after I had my son, 25, 26 is when I was like, okay, I'm going to go figure out what this hair school is about. Yeah. What school did you go to? So I went to Avenue 5.
That's in Austin? I never heard of it.
Yeah, it was different. So I know Baldwin was a popular school. The Paul Mitchell School was popular. And then Central Texas Beauty College was popular as well. And I went to Baldwin and talked to the owner of that school. And that was interesting. Okay, yeah, because he told me, he was like, well, you'd probably have to take out a loan. And we are partnered with Wells Fargo. And he was like, but only 30% of our applicants actually get approved for the loan.
Oh, yeah. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
Oh, okay. I can kind of see what you're saying.
Absolutely. Here. You already you don't even know who I am. Right. And just put me over here. Right. In this little basket of eggs of who you think I am.
Right. And he asked me what I wanted to do professionally once I left school. And I was like, well, I thought, I was thinking it would be pretty cool to be a celebrity stylist and work with. Absolutely. And he was like, I wouldn't shoot that high.
Oh,
I wouldn't shoot that high. A lot of people come in here and they say that, but, go for something that's a little bit more realistic. And I was like,
it is.
Oh, wow.
So I don't have to ask you why you didn't move forward with them. Right. Okay. Did you check out any of the other ones?
I didn't. I think I might have gone to Central Texas Beauty College, but it just wasn't my vibe. And then I went over to Avenue 5. They were brand new, and then they were offering Pell Grants, and they had gone through the government, so I could get a proper loan of financial aid, things like that. And I did get granted some money, so I didn't have to pay as much because I was single.
Right. And then just the welcoming, experience was just completely different. It's like, look, I'm just here to apply. Yeah. Let's see what I have and don't have, and let's just go from there.
And they were literally like, you can be whatever you want to be. Like, this is going to be great.
I wonder how they're doing right now.
I think they opened a second location.
Really? Yeah. Who the heck's still going there?
A lot of people. Like, even my applicants, I'm like, oh, I went to Avenue 5 too.
Well, not Avenue 5. I'm talking about the other one.
I don't even know if it's still open.
Okay, because it would make sense for them to not be open.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's still, but it is like one of the longest running hair schools in
but
Austin
they got some old, outdated ways.
Exactly.
And the way how these kids are today, ain't nobody putting up with you dimming their light at all.
There was a lot of like that era of racism dealing with
so because it was like, whoa, a second location today and operating with that mentality, ain't no damn way.
But Avenue 5 is they seem to be doing
okay. All right. Makes sense.
Yeah. So I did the night program with them.
Okay. How many hours?
1,500.
And how long did it take?
18
months? Yeah. What is like, 4 to 5 hours a night?
Yeah, I went from 4 to 9.
4 to 9. So work during the day, then go to school at night. Yeah. How was that with a son? Raising a kid?
I'm not gonna lie, it was awful.
Absolutely.
So I worked at the call center, so I would wake up at about 5, get him ready, take him to daycare by 7. It opened it up at 7. I had to be at work at 8. I would work from 8 to 4, leave. I think school started at 5. So my dad would sometimes even come pick me up from work, take me to school, and then I would work and I'd go to school from night to night, afternoon to night.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
How old was he like when you first entered? Do you remember? Yeah.
I think he was just learning to like walk when I graduated.
Yeah.
I'd just barely been walking.
OMG.
Yeah. It was rough. Like there's some days I'm like, I don't even know how I did that.
Seriously.
And you can't be late to school because they'll kick you out. You only have like so many times that you can be late.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Or even absent. You know how hard it is to stay on a consistent schedule for that long with a child, a baby. Mm-hmm. Going to daycare, they always getting sick when they go to daycare.
I live with my parents, so they were super helpful and supportive. There were some, I was still young and goofy, so we had some rough patches. Rough patches.
Goofy.
Girl, and on Saturdays when my mom didn't want to wake me up to take me to school, I'd be like, girl, you got to get up. And so there were a lot of fights.
At school?
Oh, no, at home. Just with Mom,
okay.
I have to get to school on time.
Yeah.
Like, we've got to go. If y'all want me out of this house, let's.
Absolutely. Right. That's true. That's right. So how was your experience at school?
It was funny. I thought about this the other day. We were bad.
I know.
We were bad.
What was it about beauty school? It was like so
we
toxic.
would just like leave and go smoke pot. Come back. And it was like my teachers knew because they knew that we were, passionate about it.
Yeah.
But it was fun because my teachers weren't like
hard
on us. Yeah. They would like, we get it. You're grown, but like you still got to show up.
Right.
And act right. But we were bad, but we made it fun. Like me and my girlfriend Laura we made it fun because we were already doing hair and makeup.
Yeah.
So
y'all just need to get certified.
Yeah. And people were flocking to us like, oh, y'all already do makeup. Y'all work at MAC. So they would flock to us and we would create projects and do a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah.
I think there was a moment for me where I was like, okay, we've settled into, school and the programs that we're doing, but we were a Sassoon connection school. So basically you learn the Sassoon way.
Yes.
But it wasn't a Sassoon school, right?
Oh,
so it was a Sassoon connection school. And I was like, okay, I don't feel like we're actually going over the things that are like in this price that I'm paying.
Oh.
And so I went to admissions and I'm like, hey, listen, we're talking about Sassoon and I haven't learned a haircut yet. And once I brought it to their attention, we did like a 6-week training. So I thought
that was nice that they listened to the students.
Yeah.
That's
so that
amazing.
Was cool. And we did like a 6-week training on learning the actual hands-on cuts.
That's good. So it was just only like y'all was just talking about it. Y'all wasn't like doing any practical work.
Yeah, hair school, girl. You just.
But dang, we did a lot of haircutting. And I will say the school I went to, we done a lot. I think I did more haircutting than I did anything.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about it now. I don't want to shame the school, but yeah, it was. They were new, and I think they were trying to
find their way to
find the groove without like micromanaging and overmanaging it. Some of us, some of the teachers were more strict, but you have so many, students that you have to, care for. And so I think some things just kind of slipped under the radar, and I was just like, hey, I mean, if you want me to not leave and go smoke pot, I need us to like have a program that we're sticking to that makes me feel like, but understanding, school is all about sanitization.
It is.
And passing state board.
That's it. Yeah. That's literally it. And I feel like the only reason why now that I'm thinking about it, we probably learned so much about haircutting is because the teacher was just so passionate about haircutting.
Right.
And she just kind of forced it in there.
Yeah.
We probably would have went through it too, just like we did all the other subjects there.
Yeah.
But that was the one that I remember like, dang, we are really on haircutting.
Yeah. It took them a minute to get to that, but I'm grateful that they did because now I specialize in it.
Yeah. And then like, I mean, it's a great school overall, regardless, because, I mean, for you to bring that to their attention and they actually did something about it, that's what it's about at the end of the day, because most of them, they don't know what the creator needs.
No.
Because they ain't never been a creator.
Right.
you know, they are just thinking about the black and the white behind all, you know how, I don't know how the state board has it aligned for them to make sure, you need to make sure all the students are doing this.
Right.
They cover this and that, and they're not even thinking like on the practical side, like, I have to go out here into the real world and do all these things. Right, that you are speaking of in this textbook, so girl, it was a light bulb moment for them, like, damn, I didn't even think about that.
Snap to this. Yeah. Because, you'd have those moments where it would just get boring and you're just like, I'm just at school doing nothing.
Like high school or something, like regular school. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So after cosmetology school, what were your plans after that? You passed state board, you moved forward from there.
Let's get into that.
Let's get into it. Come on.
So I took my cosmetology test twice. I failed. So I'm a terrible test taker.
Yes.
Horrible, lots of anxiety, and I don't think I noticed that at the time. So,
join the club. I did too.
Yeah,
I went back the second time. I got it, but
I got it right. So, and then after that, I was like, okay, where am I going to work? I don't know what I'm gonna do, and where I want to work. I knew that Austin was not a city that really looked like me.
Absolutely,
right?
Still kind of not.
Very much so. Very much so. But I wanted to work somewhere that was going to give me an apprenticeship, was going to stay on top of me. I knew I needed that discipline. I was young, raising a child, and I wanted to maximize, what I could get out of this industry. And so I went over I just kind of beat my feet, really, created a resume, and then I just would pull up to salons.
Yeah.
Which I think was the coolest thing.
Absolutely.
Because I got to meet so many people and, get to know them.
Unintentional networking.
Right. And they would be like, some people would be like, hey, listen, this ain't the space for you. We're all 60 years old. Thanks for stopping in.
That definitely wasn't the space for
right.
you.
Right. Go to this space or go interview. Tell them I sent you. They used to work here and they built a salon here. So, yeah, I really just got into the community and started just knocking on doors. Like, can I come in and chat with you? Can you look at my resume and tell me if you would hire me? So that I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Met so many salon owners who just pointed me in directions. And then I ended up going over to Urban Betty, which I didn't think.
Oh, I've heard of Urban Betty. Yeah.
So she's got three locations now. She just opened up her location in Round Rock. And my best friend had gone there. She had graduated school a year earlier than me. And then she went over to Urban Betty.
Okay.
And she was like, just come up here.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, is anybody black?
Yeah.
Because I'm black.
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
Nah.
It wasn't.
No.
But I did it anyways.
Yeah.
And she hired me.
Yeah.
I did the interview. She hired me. And I started immediately under Aaron Muchler. And we did a year apprenticeship. And I was on the floor, which was dope. Because I went from making like $23,000 a year to 94 in 4 years.
That's amazing.
Which
was great back
at 45%
then too.
Commission.
Yeah. OMG.
Right.
It's probably why she's still thriving, girl.
Thriving.
Whatever she got going on, that concept, is crucial.
So whoever's out there, if y'all an apprentice or just getting out of hair school, Urban Betty is a wonderful place to go and learn. And it was really cool watching her go through being a business owner, losing her shit with us because we were demanding so much. And then she would get transparent and be like, listen, when y'all can bring in money, because here's the numbers.
Absolutely.
Compared to the repairs and the products and all the things that I have to buy just to have the doors open. But when y'all can bring in money, that's when we can redo that. Because here are the numbers. And when you take off and you don't go out there and market for yourself, these are the numbers you get. And I can't do anything with that.
That's true. That's the reality of all of it.
Yeah. She made it really transparent for us to see, like, as she went through the process with us.
Yeah.
And now bringing on a lot more different people of color and people from the LGBTQIA plus community. So it's diversifying for her.
That's good.
Yeah.
Were there any black-owned salons back then that you know of, that you can recall? There
were. And, places that I had gone to, we'll get into that. But there were places that I had interviewed at, like Gabrielle's.
No.
Salon. You haven't heard of it? Okay,
no.
So it's huge. It's off of like 183 in Burnett.
Uh-huh.
It's a big salon, but it wasn't my style.
Gotcha.
of saloning. There were a lot of men that worked in there.
Okay.
A lot of barbers, and it's really mixed, which great
for
some people, but for me, I just didn't want to be working with a lot of guys.
Yeah, nothing wrong with
straight
that.
men at the time. Yeah, I just wanted to be around like inspiring women.
Yeah.
But it is basically like an all black salon.
And it's still here?
It's huge.
Oh, okay.
I just looked her up the other day. I used to go there and do like events that she would throw and volunteer my time and help out with that. But working, it was just a system. She was a Summit salon as well, just like Urban Betty.
Okay.
And I had left Urban Betty because I, was done with the whole Summit thing. So.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. And then some that were on the smaller side, but,
just not your vibe.
It wasn't my vibe.
I get it. I get it.
Yep.
So after your apprenticeship with Urban Betty, walk us through the steps or the journey that you took after that.
Ooh, okay. So when I left Urban Betty, I had spent 4 or 5 years there.
Okay. Oh, that's a good amount of time.
Yeah. Like I really enjoyed myself. But we had gone from like just a regular commission salon to Summit, and it really did call a lot of you. Summit salons call a lot of you, which I felt like was moving in a direction that I didn't necessarily want to go, like have an apprentice and then double booking up to triple booking.
No.
And, you had to meet these metrics where I was like, I am an artist. I started writing. I started out drawing, moved into the hair, art of hair. And then, I'm like, I'm not a salesperson to push these products that I can't use on my hair.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like,
because how can I really push it and it doesn't even, my hair don't, it's not for my hair.
Right. And I'm learning to sell this stuff that I didn't really believe in. And you had to meet these metrics, right? And which I understand. For the salon, that's fine. Like, this is your space. You can run it how you want to, but I just didn't want to be a part of that whole process anymore. And so, Summit Salon didn't fit me. So I bounced, and I was like, well, I want to rent a chair. So I rented a chair at Mint.
Okay.
And Mint has been around for, I think, over 20 years.
Okay. Dang.
And so a bunch of independent stylists work there, as well as commission stylists. But it's real kind of hands off. You're just there. You're there for the culture. People have been doing hair there for over 20 years.
Okay. Still around?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I loved that. Worked there for 4 years, renting a chair and kind of learning how to operate my own business within a cultured salon. And so that's where I learned I felt like I was an amazing renter. Like I got the vibes. I got what was going on. I kept my space clean. I ordered my own products. Yeah. Showed up. But I stayed there for 4 years, and then the pandemic hit. And,
wow.
So the pandemic hit while I was renting a chair there. And, it turned into this space where it was like, okay, if we're returning back to work, she's, the salon owner's like, well, there's not enough space and we have to social distance. And it's, you can only work 2-3 days a week because we have to share the space. And I'm like, okay,
you need more.
I need more days. Like I have to pay my rent. My landlord is not stopping that.
Absolutely not.
And so I was like, well, shit, I had all the tears about it and all this stuff, communed with my coworkers, and I was like, I gotta go. Yeah. I gotta go. And, I also was like taking bits and pieces from my employers, the owners, and what I liked and what I didn't like and how they ran the salon, how they didn't. And, I was like, how can I shift this into my own space? And I found a salon suite. I contacted Donna. I don't know if you know Donna that works for Salon Service Group. No. And I was like, well, what do you think about salon lofts downtown? She's like, dude, they would love to have you there. So I reached out to a lady named Karen who used to deliver products to Urban Betty. And she was like, Minnie, we've been wanting you to get into this space. And so I went and toured it. And I was like, this is cute. And my clients can social distance from everybody. They're just here with me. Yep. It was pricey. It was $1,700 a month.
Yes, indeed.
And I wondered, I'm like, can I make this happen? But yeah, so I stayed there for a couple years. I think that was 2 years, made it happen, and was able to build my clientele. And that's when I hired a business coach. Yeah. And we won't really go into that.
Girl.
Yet, you know, hired a business coach that kept me accountable and kept me, you know, but I had to curate it for myself. And that's when I got into hourly pricing. Prices went up a bit and I niched down. And that's when I was like, man, I really want to open up something like this for everybody and not micromanage and not do stuff that's scalable, but not really call so much of their time. You know, during the pandemic, you learned that work-life balance was so important.
Yes.
Right? And so I was like, man, how can I create this? Because I remembered working in salons where you had to show up to everything. And it's like, y'all, I have a little boy at home that needs me. I'm working 5 days a week, 6 days a week. And then on the weekends, I'm coming to a class or a party that I have to be at because I've got to work this activation or work this booth.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I found a space. I went to lunch with a friend of mine and she brought me over here to meet Rich at his art gallery. And I was like, yo, are there any more spaces like this in this complex? And he was like, yeah, let's walk down and I'll show you this one place that somebody just moved out of. And I was like,
this is it.
I just got to talk to somebody. And when I spoke to the landlord, you know, he brought me, I think he brought me in 2 days later, brought my brother with me. He opened up the doors and my brother was like, man, hell no.
What you mean?
He was just like, what are you, like, no.
Why?
This is a shit show. It was a mess.
Oh, but you seen the vision.
Girl, all the walls were painted black. There were like floor tiles on the wall. The tile on the floors looked insane, looked ridiculous. There was a tiny window, you know, there. So I had
literally built this thing out.
Yeah, I busted out that window. I expanded this entryway here. We did a whole full build out.
Oh, I hate we can't create no visual content.
Right. But see, I also was like, man, this is crazy because I've watched friends take out over $500,000 loans to build a salon. And I think I used about $30,000.
That's it. OMG.
$30,000. And I was like, I'm going to make magic. I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And so I just brought in a bunch of elements of stuff that I had in my apartment, stuff that I found on the side of the road.
OMG.
And found a bunch of local contractors that could come in and help me out at a good price that worked for them and that worked for me in the time frame. And yeah, even with the equipment, I think it was about $30,000.
OMG, like how the hell? You wouldn't think that walking in here.
Really?
No, because it especially knowing that you completely renovated a place. Like I thought maybe this was kind of, the foundation was kind of laid out for you and you just kind of made it your own.
Oh no, girl. We had to build like facades on the walls. Like that had a whole thing in front of it. They built a wall in front of that and this back wall by the shampoo bowls. That's the one that had wall tile all over it, or floor tile.
Oh, floor tile.
Like, who put these tiles on the wall? Right. So I was like, cover it up. So they were like, we have to build like a face on the wall.
OMG.
So it made
How
the
long
space
did it
a little
take?
bit smaller. So what's funny is I thought it was going to take like a month or 2 months. I actually thought I was going to do it by myself. Yeah. I was like, oh, I got this. I could just paint the walls. I opened the door when I came in after I got the keys and I'm like, I'm going to do this. I opened the door and I'm like,
I can't do this.
Ain't no way. Ain't no way. I don't have ladders. I don't have the ladders. I don't have the paint. I don't have the capacity. I don't have the manpower. And so I got on, I think it was TaskRabbit or something. Handy.
Yeah.
And I found GRC Construction. 24-year-old boy pulls up in a van with his dad. They're both from Honduras. Showed up the next day, and they started that day and finished when, let's see, they started end of November. And I think they finished February 2nd. End of February.
Not bad,
it took like 4 months.
Yeah.
4 months, because I opened March 2nd.
Yeah. That wasn't bad. A month.
Silly.
Girl, you was reaching for
Stupid
stars.
Shit. Yeah.
Girl, you was reaching for stars.
You know, and now I've learned so much, but that was one of the funnest things I have ever done. I know everybody was like, oh, this is going to be the hardest part. Like the build out just sucks so bad.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of trials and tribulations, but to me, I definitely think, you know, another part of my career could be going around helping people build salons.
Yeah.
That don't cost,
Yeah.
half your life savings.
Yeah. And that's so funny because it's like, that is the beauty of taking on the project yourself, because you end up creating unintentional careers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just because you want to get your hands dirty and figure it out on your own.
Oh, yeah. And I would ask my contractors, I'm like, can y'all show me how y'all are doing this? Like, they'd be like, oh, yeah, just come up today. Well,
yeah.
You can just stand by and watch. We can't have you touch stuff just because liability reasons. But I literally was like, man, I could go to school for woodworking.
And you could also literally create a job where you help them with decor.
Yeah.
You know, like literally decorating salon suites. Like, find these new people who are opening up their own little salon suite. Like, if you need somebody to help you decorate and make use of what you have.
Yeah. And I just wanted to create a space, it was unintentionally my safe space.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
That's what it usually becomes, though. Like, come on.
I was like, I just want to be a salon owner now that I understand and I've gotten this team behind me that believes that I can do this, and that's all I really needed was somebody to say, yes, you can.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people naturally are just scared for somebody to take that kind of risk. But
yeah.
I always tell people I'm a risky bitch. Like,
yeah.
Whether it ended up good or bad, I have always wanted to take a risk.
Yeah.
And take risks. But I unintentionally created this like safe space. I knew I wanted a space that people of color could come into and say, like, oh, this was meant for me. Right? We were so
especially
used to
here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. In something that was run well, customer service was at the top of the chain.
For
right.
A lot of reasons.
Right. Right. Like showing up, being on time, not having you here all day for one simple service.
Because we have that reputation.
Right.
Yes, we do.
So I wanted to kind of disrupt the industry. I won't even say kind of. I really wanted to just, if I can, fuck it up. And just say, like, we can change this and it's okay that we change. We're not changing who we are, but we're changing how we see the community, how we treat the community, and how we evolve.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So, Minnie, speaking of bad customer service, what strategies have you employed to address customer dissatisfaction and turn negative experiences into positive ones for your business?
I love this question. So
yeah,
I feel
me too.
like, this is one of those that you learn over time. I feel like, and I will say this, like working in that call center really helped me with this because I started out as like a tier 1, what is called a tier 1. You just answering the phones, right? And so then I got moved up to what was called the RSS team. So we were the response, RRS. We were the response and repair and service team. So then you had to take on the phone calls of people who were extremely upset.
All the time?
All the time. That's all
so at one point in that career, that's all you listened to all day long?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you were just getting cussed out, yelled at, people crying all the time.
I wouldn't know what to do with that.
Oh, yeah. And so you had to, I was getting paid more, so I was like, I got to figure this out.
Right.
And you had to learn, I mean, you could let the conversation get away and them just berate you, but you had to learn how to diffuse them because there was nothing further that you could do besides to repair this product.
Right.
And tell them this is, it's going to be fine. We're going to take care of you. And I think with the growth in my career, working at a commission salon where you had the front desk and the people could go onto Yelp and go to the front desk and bitch out the front desk.
Exactly.
Right? Like me separating myself from that space and renting a chair and having the client, like, you can only come to me.
Yeah.
Right? You can only come to me. And so, if there is a bad experience that you've had during this time, you have to talk to me about it.
Yeah.
So really teaching my clients to communicate, teaching myself to effectively communicate, and asking those questions during the service, having those communications, those consultations in the beginning to set the standard and my boundaries. That is one thing that I really have, I will say, been prideful about because I don't really deal with majorly disgruntled people anymore, right?
Anymore. Yeah.
Right, because I've learned to teach my clients that, like, if you don't like something, I am an artist. I am not a magician.
Right.
Right. Just speak to me, talk to me about it, and we can fix this.
Right.
Like this can all be fixed. This is not life or death at this point.
Right.
So,
when it's treated like such.
Yeah. And I think the front desk really allows for a lot of toxic and less emotionally intelligent people to utilize that front desk to be their
they just murder.
Yeah, they can just kick that person around instead of going to the actual source of the problem. Right. So I thought that was really something. Removing my front desk was one strategy.
Yes.
If you don't like what your stylist did for you,
talk to your stylist.
It's going to help them become a better. This is a relationship. You're building a relationship with this person.
That's right.
Right. And anytime you're in a relationship or building a relationship, you've got to communicate to learn how we can be cohesive.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And learn if maybe I'm not the one
for you. And that's in all relationships too.
Ding, ding, ding.
I love that. So removing the front desk. What else?
Removing the front desk, having the phone lines going straight to me, my staff, right? Where people can text and, if you have an issue, please don't go. I ask my clients too, like if you don't like, call me back. Please don't go straight to Yelp.
I know. Please. I can't. Not that I can't resolve anything, but are you giving me a fair opportunity?
Right.
And do you really want to address this with me and fix the problem?
Yeah.
If you didn't contact me, it's like I got to get a notification.
Right. Right. I mean, it's part of it, I guess, It's part of it. But yeah, having the texting available has been helpful.
Yes.
Mandatory consultations.
Mandatory.
Right. I will not do somebody's hair if I've not had a consultation.
Mandatory.
Yes. Because the boundaries are in place, baby.
Yeah, because, man, if you don't have, I know, like for me, new clients, yes.
Right.
Especially if you are asking for, you're booking a service, but then you leave a note with additional things. It's not like a silk press. It's like, okay, I feel comfortable moving forward with a silk press. I may ask them some questions to make sure that their hair is even able to receive a silk press.
Right.
But like you do color, like that. Oh man,
it gets deep. So, yeah,
you need to, because so many just it's just so easy to confuse, what the ideal is and the expectation is. And I need to know what that is so I can make sure I can even do what that is.
Right.
Versus you coming here and then you feel like you wasted your time because your hair ain't even in the shape or the condition, or it's just not even achievable.
Right. And like we talked about, like the lawsuit, dealing with the lawsuit, people who sue. So I prefer to have a consultation with everybody before I sit down. And that was something I had to learn over time, because I did work in a salon where you just took walk-ins.
Just do their hair.
And I found that to be harmful in a lot of situations, especially when you don't look like the clientele coming in. So I wanted to create safety, in safer spaces and opportunities for my staff to say like, oh, I get to have a consultation with this person, and I'm also allowed to tell this person that I might not be a good fit for you, but I'll share you with the community. So those are just strategies that I've learned to implement, and just to be hardcore about them, so that you are protecting yourself and you're proactive about, and I know some people don't like it. Like, I just want to come in and get my hair done.
The flexibility of, it's not like how it was back then.
No.
It's not.
No.
You almost just shouldn't. Like there should be policies intact, for the safety of you and them.
Like I had a guy call the other day, and I could tell he was an older gentleman, and he's like calls the line, and he's like, where are you guys located? And I was like, we're at 2511 East 6th Street. I was like, is there anything I could do for you? And he's like, oh no, I was just looking online, and I like what you guys are doing, so I'm getting ready to head that way.
Oh no.
And I was like, at first I was thinking, what did I do? Like, is he,
Oh, like someone probably servicing here? Or
yeah, like somebody did something wrong, and so, like, cool, I like what you guys are doing online. I don't even know if he said that first, but my initial reaction was like, oh my God, what happened? You know?
Yeah.
And so he was like, I'm getting ready to head that way. And I was like, oh, no, wait. But like, we're not open yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, is there something that you're looking for? And he was like, oh, no, I was just, I was coming to get, I wanted my hair washed and my scalp grease. And I was like, sir, we take consultations first. We need to sit down with you and have a full discussion, And, you don't want to get into all, like, we want to make sure that you're a good fit, I'm a good fit. Like,
oh, my gosh.
But just book the consultation so that you can figure out who's a good fit for you, if this is a space for you.
Yeah.
Things like that. So.
And what'd he do?
He never showed up.
Yeah, because that don't surprise me, because they are used to just walking in. Right. They want it done right then and there. They don't want to book an appointment in the future.
Yeah.
And also for me, I don't really want to service those clients because they're not like the clients that are going to reoccur. Right. It's like, oh, you just coming here out of convenience. I don't do hair out of convenience.
Right. And I asked him, I was like, had you looked at the prices? Because,
things have changed.
Yeah, things have changed.
And you said he was an elder gentleman.
And I'm trying to create a beautiful customer experience, customer experience for you. So I don't want you to just pop in and you thought, it was going to be a $30 hair greasing, situation. And then you find out $150 later that, no, I was going to do full service and assess and things like that. I don't want the bad Yelp review. So I want to have the conversation ahead of time so I can set the standard.
Yes.
Of what my experience is that I give, and I don't have to be run parallel to the salon next door.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Setting boundaries is essential for any business. How do you strike a balance between creating necessary boundaries and providing exceptional customer service, particularly in a Black-owned business context?
Okay. So this one was hard for me. And I say it was hard for me because, I think after the pandemic, a lot of us realized we grew up without boundaries in our family.
Yes, we did.
Right. And you just had to say yes.
Yeah.
Say yes.
Absolutely.
You start working, and as a woman, you're used to you just be sweet and you say yes. Mm-hmm. Just say yes.
Seen, not heard.
Right. And once I hired my business coach, and we talked about boundaries and how things make you feel, and just being true to that, I really had to sit with that for a long time. I'm like, there are a lot of things that I don't agree with, even in our industry, outside of it, but in our industry, since we're talking about this, that I don't agree with. And, when I started Shag Noir at this location, I was like, okay, yeah, consultations.
Yeah.
And, these are things I talk to my mom about, especially, older women that are in my family and, how they were used to going into salons and booking their appointments. My mom would tell me, well, Marion, she's older. You've got to, answer the phone, or if they, call you and want to talk, or I'm like, well, I understand that that's how y'all used to do things, but times have changed. And I like that is holding up me as a business owner to have to sit and respond to each person this kind of way because it was the old school way.
Right.
You can book online. I can't in the middle of my day.
While I'm in the middle of a service.
Yeah. Stop my day to just like sit here. Oh, let's figure out this day, this time. No, it's online and you can book online.
Accordingly.
Right. In different situations, like even with social media, like how people creating those boundaries with DMing and things like that. I'm like, I don't want to be responsible for not responding to you. So just don't DM me. I have a business line and that is the boundary. Text the business line, call the business line during operating hours. No, I am not going to respond to you on the weekends. No, I am not going to respond to you when I'm home with my family.
Right.
Unless it is an emergency. And I think that was hard for like my mom to understand and kind of thought like you're being rude. And I'm like, no, it's a sign of the times now. We have so much technology out here. And for me, with things just moving and hustling and bustling, I've created a space where you can go online and find your schedule.
That's right. Just book according to the availability that you see. They really don't understand. Like, it will be almost next week until you can get on the books trying to text me back and forth because I'll throw you a date out there. You'll tell me it don't work for you.
Right.
Then you'll throw me a date. Then it don't work for me.
Right.
And it's just this back and forth when the schedule is right there.
Right. Right. And it's just like, no, this is just the procedure and this is the protocol here. So if you can't follow it, I've had people call and I'm talking to them and, I can hear that they're really young, but they're so used to being coddled and handheld through a whole booking. And I tell them, well, thanks for calling. Go ahead and book online. You can see the schedule. You can, your days that you're available. If you're booked, I'm here.
Right.
If you're booked on the days that I'm open, I'm going to be here. And it's, you hear that in their voice where they're like, oh, so you're not going to book it for me? And it's like, no. Other salons may do that, but I don't. And I'm okay with that boundary that I've created, because if I notice that it's going to make me feel some type of way that I don't like, then why implement it in your business?
No,
you know what
seriously.
I mean? Why just say yes to be a people pleaser? There's ways that you can cut that off, and it works for a lot of people. And it's like, well, then these are my people.
Right.
If you can follow the rules, just like I have to when I'm approaching some businesses, if there's things I don't like, I don't go.
Find your fit and stop forcing it.
Totally fine.
Stop forcing these fits.
Yep.
At the end of the day, I didn't say you couldn't book. There's an option. You just don't want to utilize the option.
Correct.
But they hear you don't want to service me.
Right.
What they hear is just out of your control.
Right.
I
was not catering to that part anymore. I said yes so much in this industry. You see people talk about it online, like, I had a death in the family and my client wanted me to come on a day that I don't work, and not even considering that this person, the stylist, is going through something. It's just like they're more so focused on themselves. I'm like, as the person providing the service, you have every right to make, your space curated for you and the clientele that value and appreciate you.
Right.
And boundaries, to me, especially as a Black woman, were so important, because I've worked in spaces where people felt the need to say certain things to me based off of my race or based off of whatever. And it's like,
yes,
I'm not going to put up with this anymore.
Yep.
I'm allowed to say, no, this does not work for me. And it's worked out just fine.
Yeah.
It's actually a really beautiful thing.
Peaceful. And what a lot of, people in our industry, I'm like, you're going to burn yourself out.
Exactly.
Because, like, literally, that's the reason why I do have the boundaries. I was like, something got to deal, because me being this people pleaser and saying yes all the time, I'm just overextending myself. And then I can't even show up for you at the appointment because I'm so damn exhausted.
Right. Or angry, having issues with myself that I push myself beyond that.
Yes.
And like, speaking of boundaries, I think that's something that we as a Black community, especially Black stylists, business owners, could really tap into a little bit more. And I say this because, just doing interviews with certain people, and I'm finding that they are doing hair at home. Yeah. Right? Like, we grew up doing that. Like, we totally get it. But I think we have to think about, I paid for this license thousands of dollars. Yeah. To not go inside my home and do hair. And do hair. Right? There was a specific incident where, somebody had come to me, and as a single mom, I'm like looking at them like, okay, we click, single moms doing hair, trying to make money, and finding that they're doing hair at home and not wanting to separate that. Like,
did she say why?
Well, it was just like, that's what they're used to. And that's what, and this is Texas.
And people are still coming. So it's like, what's the point?
Right.
But not understanding, like, in order to, like, even, there's so many resources outside of being at home, and you can't take advantage of those if you're going to be staying at home.
Right. You're crossing those boundaries. Like, now you've got people coming into your home.
And your home.
Where you and your children are, you and your child, whatever it may be, that should be the safe space for your child, that they know they can come to you, that they ain't got to be told to go over there, go back in your room because I'm doing something, whatever it may be. Number one, it's illegal to do that in
Number
Texas.
one.
So why would you jeopardize your license, right? And do that? You can do it, but you have to have a separate entrance.
Absolutely.
Right? And we know if you're doing it out of an apartment or a small home that doesn't have a second entrance, it's illegal. It's not worth, especially for us, if we've paid that, all that money to be set backwards. Don't risk it. And then have that space for you and your child, so that you and your child both know, once we're here,
it's cut off.
It's cut off.
It's cut off.
This is our fun time. This is our bonding time. And when I'm at work, that's where I do the work stuff.
Absolutely.
But, I think there's a scarcity of that. There's a scarcity of telling people no. And the other thing was like, well, my clients are going to come here. They're used to coming to my house, but they're not going to go here.
That's a lie.
And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, there's the other boundary.
That's a lie. They rather come to a salon than hold their head over a sink.
And think about what you can't expand to do. That client knows your overhead is mixed in with your house bill. So you don't have crazy overhead. So you can't really charge me more.
Absolutely. And I'm going to be wondering, why are you charging me more?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're not paying rent somewhere else professional. It's all under your roof. And that's what I think gets us tied into, one, being scared to create boundaries. Because you've put yourself in a position where they dictate how you move.
Absolutely.
Not worth it.
Not at all. That's a really good point too, because it's also a safety issue if you really think about it, because we don't really know
these people,
especially if it's a first time client, a client that's been coming to you for like 5 years. Okay, whatever. But a first time client, you're going to bring them in your home. You don't know who this person is.
Right.
They leave. They're not happy with the service. They know where you live.
Exactly. And that was another huge concern of mine. Like, they could just pop by. Oh, I need a little bang trim. I need you to fix this. Like,
absolutely.
No. We're not doing that.
Absolutely. I wouldn't know what to do if somebody pulled
because
up on me
people
like
do
that.
it here at the salon. So why would they not? If you've only given them that space, why would they not?
That's true.
Do that.
Somebody gonna do it.
Yeah.
Maybe not the majority, but somebody will.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because not all of us are hinged. So just, I don't know.
No, for real, because there is a lot that are
Right. And I've just found that boundaries, people like boundaries. They like structure. They really, and some people don't.
But those are not the people for me.
Right. But when you give people structure, it lets them know how to dance with you.
Yes.
Right. Then they know, okay, well, I won't ask this person for that. Or, oh, they already told me, a huge boundary that I created was, I don't talk about hair outside of my job.
Ooh, girl, they see you. They want to book an appointment outside the salon.
And how many of those people actually show up?
Girl, they don't ever show up. They just
2%.
making conversation.
So I tell people, I had a neighbor who would be like, so Minnie, what would you, let me stop you, baby. And I would, try to do it as nicely as possible, because I know boundaries can kind of set people, like, make the situation real fucking awkward.
Yeah, I know.
Right, it is. It's awkward because you're being told how to behave to a specific person with a specific person. But she would get into, so I was thinking about cutting my hair, and I know that you're really, and I'm like, let me stop you, babe. Yeah. I was like, I love that you want to ask me this, and I love doing hair, but I'm not at work. No. Right? And these are reasons why I have consultations, so that you can book that time to talk to me. Yep. Otherwise, I just want to be Minnie. Yeah. Right now, at home, talking to you about the grass growing. Yeah.
Anything but hair. Anything but hair.
Because I would learn that these people want to talk to you, and they're making conversation, small talk. Small talk makes my skin crawl. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
I saw a post that tried to make it seem like people who don't like it are like toxic. I'm like, no. You are a person that talk too much, and you trying to make it about me. Right. Small talk is just a waste of my time.
It is, and it's very awkward to me that people just try to find these, like,
fillers.
Things that, to talk about. Like, you can just stand next to me. I'm totally fine.
Ain't gotta say a word. Here.
But it was like they would start these conversations. There'd be some days I want to just, like, go grab something to eat, go grab a drink after work, and oh, you're the girl that does hair, and it's like, I'm not talking to you about this, because I have done this when I was younger in my career, talking all night, and you never book an appointment. And I'm like, I just wasted all that time. And then people that see you, they're like, I need to get you to do my hair, girl. I need to get you.
Oh, I can't stand
go away.
that. Do you charge for consultations?
I don't.
See, I do.
You do.
And that's another reason why I make my skin crawl, because it's like, people actually book and pay for this. And then here you are borrowing my time for the clients who pay for it. So it's like, no, we're not talking about hair.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the service is a pretty penny. So, I'll have a free conversation with you. because in that conversation, I will let you know, like, it's a go, or it's not a good fit.
What I usually do is I'll have like I'll email them, if they request a salon consultation, I'm like, let me email them to make sure that they actually need it.
Right.
Because sometimes, I ran into situations where it's like, I can't even help you. So the last thing I want to do is bring you in here, make you pay for a salon consultation, and I can't even help you. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll get the information up front first, and I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, I can help her. Yeah. We can go ahead and move forward. But if I can't help, then I don't even schedule it, because then it'd be like, dang, I came there and I can't even move forward with you, and I just paid my money for a consult.
Do you ever do virtual?
Yeah, I do virtual too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I do a lot of those too, or just like over the phone, where I'm like, just send me 3 photos of where you are, like with your hair right now, and then three photos that inspire you, or that you might be looking to do. If we don't do like a FaceTime or Zoom.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So Minnie, let's talk about sharing knowledge versus gatekeeping, which is, man.
Yeah.
It's in our industry, it's a fine line. So, in this industry, trends and techniques, they evolve. How do you navigate between sharing your expertise and the fear of others copying or competing with your business? Or is there even a fear?
Never.
I felt that way.
I guess initially what comes to my head is I'm like, there is no fucking competition.
Right.
I'm competing with myself literally.
Absolutely.
Every day. You do slip into those places where I'm like, there's times where I'm like, ugh, I hate Christmas parties. Do I throw a Christmas party? Like, I know the girl down the road threw a Christmas party, and it's like, no. I know what I provide to my staff. I've already let them know I don't love Christmas parties. And they have husbands that are touring and deployed. I don't want to pull them out.
Everybody's situation is different.
Yeah.
You have to appeal to that.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're a small team. So, yeah, like, I don't want to have to, you got to go find a babysitter now just to come jingle bells with me. Like, nah. Yeah. I'll get you guys like a spa day somewhere.
I cannot.
I just have never, thought that competition was a thing for me. Everybody does things so differently. Yes. And I know that it does seem like there should be some competition, like I should be loved, but it's competition.
I don't think so.
Within myself.
With like competing to be better than you were a year ago. Like, as long as you are continuing to evolve and you look back and be like, man, I done came a long way. Yeah. That's literally the only competition. So it's like, when you're gatekeeping information that can potentially help someone, I don't really understand that. It's like, but it also depends on what the information is, I guess,
And it could, because then you go into like people who pay for these certifications where,
and they pay for it. So it's like, ma'am, I paid for this. I don't mind helping you, but I got to be compensated because I done spent a good little penny on it. Right. Yeah, I understand that too,
I really have a hard time with that. And I think that I have a hard time with it because I am a Black woman. Okay. Right. And so I notice how many people might have the conversation with you and listen to how hard things are, but they still won't share, how did you get a business credit card? How did you find that space?
It's a business credit card.
Right. Right. Like, and I know that not everybody has time to spill and pour into you, but
if we're sitting and having a conversation and we're on the topic of discussion, and we're talking about a business credit card, I'm not even asking for practical knowledge.
Right. Like, how did you get it? You can let me know. Like, are you running your expenses? Do you know where your money's going? Where's your credit score? Yeah. Start there. But people won't even share that information with you.
They just sitting there listening.
Which is why I love throwing, events outside of the salon so that, there's a time and a date, and if you're hungry for that knowledge and you've asked me in question or in passing before, or I've seen you post it and I'm like, oh, let me create that space where we can answer some of those questions. Yeah. Let me pull people from the community that I know that may enjoy coming and sharing their knowledge, that are professionals in the banking industry, the finance industry, the spiritual wellness industry. Let's just have an event, and I want to make it free. And so if you really want to know, you can come and you can ask those questions, because this is a space where you could do that.
That's building community.
Right. I find it very interesting how much, and I will say this, I do feel like the white community doesn't share with us.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Since the beginning of time.
It's very apparent whether they're in your industry, they are a colleague, right? So, and I find it to be very different than how I operate or people that look like me operate. So like even with information, I'll say, for example, that my partner shared with me, you know, I asked him one day, I'm like, what, you're going to do your expenses like every weekend since I've met you. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? You don't own a business. So he's like, oh no, I just go look at all my bills. I make sure my bills are paid for, you know, I got my paycheck. And I'm like, can you show me? And he's like, absolutely.
Yeah.
So he shows me this and I'm like,
oh,
you out of your damn mind. Like when I'm telling people, you know, colleagues of mine that I know are in amazing spaces, I'm like, I can't even get a business credit card or I can't get this. He's like helping me out with these spreadsheets. And I'm like, this is why I can't get it. And they knew that.
But they didn't tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know where the leak is in your finances? Are you checking your finances every week?
Yeah.
Not just, do you have QuickBooks?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
With this, I was able to get rid of
QuickBooks. You don't need
I'm like,
it.
I know what every transaction in every bank account, I can pay my bills up front for the month. I had not been doing that.
Yeah.
And so when I got that information and implemented it in my day-to-day activities, I was like, you know what? I'm about to make this shit a habit.
Yeah.
I cannot go any further. I'm going to be 40 next year. I cannot go any longer not knowing or being like, I'm so overwhelmed by this.
Not knowing your numbers.
As soon as I learned that, it was like, I'm sure my clients thought I was on crack because when they were coming, I'm like, you have to know what I learned.
It's like, it's so empowering in a different field in our industry, you know, versus like learning that finally you learned that new color that you've been trying to do, that new haircut. But man, when you learn it's fun.
It is so fun.
It's fun.
Because now, you know, a lot of our stress comes from finances. And I was thinking about that in my relationship. I'm like, oh, Lord, I'm just stressed out. But I'm like, oh, I'm stressed out about money.
Yeah.
I'm stressed out about can I pay the rent here and at my house, you know? And I was like, let me just alleviate this by really doing some surgery on my finances.
Yes.
And I just really wanted to share that. And I learned, people ain't gonna like this one. I learned how many people will sit in your face with the small talk shit and lie, right? Oh, I'm good with my money, or I'm da-da-da-da-da. I mean, one of my friends was like, I say friends very loosely, but like, I've been doing my finances since I was in 4th grade.
4th grade?
But
How?
I know their life. And I'm like, let's fucking get real.
But see, the thing is, when you're really implementing the numbers, I can look at you
and tell
how you spend money.
Right.
I know you're not tracking.
Right.
Girl, bye.
And I'm okay with saying like, oh, I didn't know. I didn't know.
Me too.
Because I still was doing well, you know, I was still successful, but and
that's the crazy thing. You feel like, oh, I'm good. You know, I'm able to pay the rent. I'm able to pay whatever. If I want to go buy this, I can buy that. If it's a little bit more expensive, I'll cut back. But it's like, damn, now that I really see this for what it really is.
And I told my partner, I'm like, I don't know a damn person that says I do my expenses every weekend.
Dominic do.
See? I don't know him. So now
Yep. I'm talking about every single week since we got married. Track them expenses.
Yep.
And I used to be like, and me looking at him like, this is so unnecessary. Like, I don't know why he.
Or it's overwhelming. Like, I can't know.
And I'm like, we can pay the bills, so why are you tracking?
But it's like, we're tracking it because there's so much more money hidden in here. And you know, you can see where I had so many subscriptions that got.
Oh my God.
Sitting on credit cards that I didn't even, I'm like, why is my credit card bill so high?
And then you get that money back.
I canceled everything. Like, I am not allowed to Instacart. I am not allowed to Uber Eats. When I was Uber eating maybe 3-4 times a week.
Yeah.
And you hear in our industry all the time, know your numbers.
Yeah.
And I thought about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I know what I'm bringing in every month. I know what some of my bills are, but I didn't know the depths.
Only the surface. I don't know what it's like underneath.
And you hear it in conversation when people say, well, I don't know where all my money's going. That's when you're like, You don't track your expenses.
You don't have
a damn clue where your money's going.
No.
Or you would never say that.
No.
Right.
Now, you can't. If you knew, it's just, you can't say that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's like, hell, I know. Like, if you don't know, then that's a sign that your financials are unhealthy.
Right. Right.
I mean, come on. I mean, that's just the truth.
And it was just like high time for me to like sit down and figure out, like, in order for you to scale, in order for you to have some type of like normalcy in your life, like, you've got to take a look at all of this dissect it and make it make sense, or the doors will close. And this is why you see so many small businesses closing.
Yep.
Because it's so easy to do. You start bringing in money, but then at the end of the month, you're like, wait.
Damn, I ain't left with nothing.
When did my rent go up? Like 3 times at some point. Like, this doesn't make any sense where the money went. But yeah.
And circling back around, if you notice, like back in the day, like our grandfathers, our grandmothers, first of all, our grandmothers didn't even work.
Right.
They were literally surviving off of one income, but they made it work, and they were able to afford their livelihood and anything that they wanted to buy.
Right. And it's like we were talking about, you can make, let's say you can make $5 million in a year, but if you spend it all,
you ain't profited nothing.
Right. And you have the people who can bring in $40,000 a year and they're saving, $15,000 a year because they understand that they've got to put that money away, put in that interest, that high yield interest account, savings account, and compound the savings. So, it was an eye opener to me because it made no sense for me to be making this much money. And I had no idea where it was going. And I just thought I knew my numbers. I thought I was doing good because I thought, well, I'm not buying expensive clothing. I'm not,
Right? Like, I'm not an expensive person. Like, I'm not high maintenance at all.
Right. I'm not booking, the most lavish hotels. When I travel, I'm trying to do it as cheap as possible.
Right.
I'm there for the experience. But it's like, it doesn't matter if you're not able to set things aside and know where your money's going to and all this like frivolous spending that you're doing.
Yeah.
That all adds up.
Yeah.
And you can be happy that you're making $200,000 a year. But like, if you're saving nothing, what is the point?
What's the point? And I don't really know the depths of, like going to a bank to get a loan. Because I've never went to a bank to get a loan to open up my own front store. I've only worked behind the chair, or I've, leased from a salon like a salon franchise, like a little studio set up. So I never had to borrow that much money to like, because I don't have no generational wealth. If I wanted to branch out like that, I'm definitely going to have to go take out a loan,
Don't say that so fast. I didn't.
Yeah, but I don't want to use my money.
Yeah, well, you always offer other people's money. Let me tell you. Did I tell you how I was able?
No.
Okay. I'll be very transparent about this. I hope she's listening.
Send this episode to her.
I started crowdsourcing.
Mm-hmm.
I had always heard, you make money off of other people's money.
Okay.
Right? So I started crowdfunding. And I was like, I want to see who's going to pour into me because I know my due diligence. You give me the money and I'll make magic with it. I'll build this up for you all that invest in me. And so I started a GoFundMe.
OMG.
I started a GoFundMe and I put it up to $25,000. And I was just like, I had it in my head, like, I will make magic out of whatever I get. Right.
Yeah.
And I knew my friends were opening salons with $500,000 loans. I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to do this?
And I don't want to think about paying that back, Minnie.
And those business loans, you got to pay back fast. You got about 7 years.
And then if you only got 7 years to pay that off, that rent or that lease, or it's not rent or lease. I mean, depending on where you open it up at, it could be a lease. I don't know.
Right.
But basically how much it's going to cost per month to pay that loan back.
Right.
That's a lot of money.
So you got to have a really
divided
good
to 7 years.
business plan and some work ethic because you got to pay it back fast.
I ain't got
and
time.
They're not like loans for your home. You're talking about anywhere from 5 to some of them 30%.
Absolutely not.
Right? So I did the GoFundMe. I put it up to 25,000. I think within the first couple hours it had gotten up to about like 1,800.
Okay, dang, that's good.
And that's in the first couple hours. Then I got a text message from one of my clients who I had only cut her hair twice. And I will say she was a white woman and I didn't expect this. And she said, Minnie, we're trying to pay off the rest of your GoFundMe, but it won't let me. And I was like, what the fuck are you
From 1,800 to 25, like the remaining balance, 25,000 minus $1,800. She wanted to take care of the...
And I like, my brain would not compute. I'm like, what are you saying?
Mine ain't computing now.
She's like, give me your address. I'll be there in 10 minutes. I'm like, wait. Hold up. Like, what are we talking about? And she's like, just send me your address. So I send her my address. She shows up and she hands me a check for $25,000. And I just couldn't sort out what was happening in my head. And she's like...
So within hours, you had the money.
Mm-hmm. And then the GoFundMe was still up. She was like, still keep the GoFundMe up. Let people keep.
Shut the front door.
Like, nobody's asking you to shut down. And she told me, she was like, I don't give a fuck what you do with this money. You could take your son and move to Mexico. But she was like,
oh my goodness.
More people need to be. She was like, do you want to know where this money came from? I'm like, yes, just in case you're part of the cartel. You know? I'm like, girl, I need to know because I've never, this is like my head was about to explode.
Right.
I started crying. I'm like,
absolutely.
I don't even know where to go cash this. I don't know what to do with this. And she told me that, she had, it was inherited family money that she was like, we don't need it. My husband and I do not need this. More people should be doing this that look like me.
Oh my gosh.
And she was like, I have even been talking to my family about, because some people in her family got money from the same source.
Gotcha.
And she was like, I even tried to tell them, you don't need it. Do what we're doing, please. And so, I took that check for $25,000. I had also had my car stolen during the pandemic. So
I remember that.
Yeah, with that.
You had your bridal makeup.
My makeup was in the car. Yeah. So I didn't really, the car was worth $7 probably. And the makeup was worth so much money, so much more. And I was grateful that I had business insurance. So that I think I got like $9,000 from that.
Okay, good.
So I smashed that together and then the GoFundMe money. And then I think I sold some stocks.
Oh, wow.
And then I was like, okay, with this, I'm not gonna move to Mexico. I'm going to.
Girl, what you say?
I'm gonna build it. I just started buying chairs. I hired one of my clients, who was an interior designer, and I was like, can you help me just with this crazy building I just found? Like, figure this out and turn this space into a salon. It's only going to be open for 2 years, but I'm willing to, like, take all of this money. I bought me a couple shoes, Some cute stuff.
You're not tired to come up here and show up and look cute?
And, so I did it literally with other people's money.
See, my problem is because... if you all this stuff stems back into childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And if you grow up a certain type of way, it affects all the damn decisions that you make as you get older if you don't go get the help that you need,
right?
To stop. My problem is I was so used to being told no all the time when I would ask for something that I was like, when I get up and moving, I ain't asking nobody for shit.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with being afraid of rejection. I was just tired of being told no.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm talking about as a kid, I go ask for something. It's like, no,
right.
No. And it's not even, especially when it was something related to a passion or a dream, that used to suck life out of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? When I get a job, I'm getting a job as soon as I can.
Right.
Got a job and I'm like, I ain't asking nobody for nothing else no more. And I think I kept that with me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, y'all are teaching me I can't really depend on y'all for nothing.
Right.
So I'm going to place myself in a position where I'm not asking nobody for nothing. And then when I ask, I feel like I'm a burden because of the responses that you receive.
Right.
When you ask. You feel like, oh, you're being an inconvenience. You're being, a little crutch in my life right now. So I was just like, and it's still with me today. Okay. I don't like to ask nobody for shit.
Oh, I love it.
I don't.
I love it now. Like, I had to really learn that.
It's not a good trait, though.
I think it's something that you just grow to understand. It's slow. Like, I, started teaching my son. I'm like, closed mouths do not get fed. Mm-hmm. Like, the answer's always no if you don't ask.
Right.
You can get the no because you can take and pivot and take that somewhere else and ask somebody else.
Right.
But manifestation. So I did share with my clients too that before I opened my salon, I had written down, I think probably one night when I was just like sitting up doing nothing. Mm-hmm. And I was like, let me just write down if I ever opened a salon. I had no plans because I had no money. All my money was tied up in my stocks, right? And my brother had always taught me, that's not for you to touch. Like, you don't have a retirement fund as far as your job providing one. So you need to keep adding to that. Do not touch it.
Right.
Unless there's something you want to, like, I'm going to pour all in and I'm going to get a return. But he was
Absolutely.
like, that's just not for you to touch. So I just saw it as this account that I had created for myself so that I can have something when I'm old. Mm-hmm. And so I wrote down, I got real detailed about what my salon would be, how the parking would be, how, the type of lights, the type of chairs, who I would have working. Mm-hmm. It was wild to me. Mm-hmm. I wrote this down in my journal that I kind of scratch all my thoughts and ideas and stuff down. And I go through, that was in April of 2021. And by October, November is when I started crowdfunding. Okay. I had no plans in April at all. I was just like,
you just manifested.
I got the suite, so let me just see. I've done this before, like when I wanted to move out of my house.
Yeah.
I had written down, as long as I can make $3,000, I need to make $3,000 a month, and I can move out of my parents' house.
Right.
And then I did. And I was taught to make a vision board, early on. And I just didn't know that I believed in that. I grew up in a Christian household that was like, just pray. Oh. And then learning that all of that is the same, right?
Manifesting and praying. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So you're trying to invite this into your life. You're welcoming this. You're claiming it into your life. And next thing I knew, like once I started building this out and finished the build out, I'm going through my journal. Because I was like, this is the journal I write all my stuff down in and do my expenses or whatever. And I found the page where I had written down, and I'm looking around at the salon, and I was like, holy shit. Like, this is literally what I wrote down. I think with the exception of one thing, I had put that I was going to be a green circle salon, and I'm still not, right? Okay. I just haven't done the research and all that, but we have a green circle box upstairs because one of my stylists was green circle. So I was like, okay, now we'll be that. But yeah, I literally had written everything down, and then it turned into this.
OMG.
So when I tell people to write stuff down, it worries me that I don't do it for a lot of the things that I want now. I think I just get so wrapped up in how busy life is. Yeah. But when I'm sitting and talking to somebody that does feel like a little overwhelmed or feels lost in their process, I'm like, just write the shit down.
Just write it down.
Write down what you want, right? And be very specific. Same things you're told. Tell God what you want. Make it specific. Yeah. Like those things, those are the things and the desires. You only get one chance at this. Yeah. So, I think it makes me think when I get home, I'm going to go write down
No, seriously, girl, while you sitting over here talking about this, I was like, ooh, it's vision board time.
Listen, in the vision board shit, there was a vision board think tank, big black girl think tank yesterday at the Domain. Mm-hmm.
Did you go?
I didn't go because I had to come out this way to meet up with my colleagues.
So they had like a big vision board event?
Vision boards to me are so dope.
I have so much fun at them. I did not know that.
They make shit happen. It's manifesting.
Yeah.
Literally, when I started the first one I was telling you about, I'm moving out of my parents' house, it was the first time I heard about a vision board. And you saw it all over Pinterest and stuff, right? Yep. Mm-hmm. And then I was doing makeup at the time, and I felt like I was just doing slimy work, free work for slimy photographers. Yeah. And you'd show up and you're like, oh, this is just an opportunity for this guy to be disgusting, and I'm doing the makeup here for free. And so I really had set my sights on doing work with some people that inspired me online. One of them was Matt Wolf. He's makeup artist and now even a hairstylist, amazing hairstylist out of Dallas. And I had been watching his work, and I'm like, I really want to reach out to this guy, but I'm too scared. Like, he's doing work on another level. And girl, I put it on my vision board. I put his work on my vision board. I had like cut out of magazines and printed stuff, printed his work, glued it on this poster board, and all these other different things. And I shit you not, I get a phone call from a hairstylist, black hairstylist named Anna Thomas, and she worked at Sonia Richards' salon on the Drag. And she's like, hey, Minnie, I know you don't know me, whatever. She's like, I'm doing a photo shoot with Matt Wolf. And I need...
Girl, shut the front door.
He was the photographer at the time.
Dang. So he dibble and dabble.
He knows how to do it. He's just fabulous at everything.
OMG.
He was her photographer. And I was like, that's all I wanted to do was
just get into his vicinity.
Into a room with this talented human being who is shooting these photos, but also is capable of doing the makeup on a level that far surpasses my skills.
Right.
Right. And the next thing I knew, within like a month, I'm working with Matt Wolf and Anna Thomas.
That's crazy.
Right.
But yeah, because, you know, like, I have not done a vision board in a long time. And
did you feel like things came from
they
it?
did.
Right.
Like, I literally manifested everything in that year.
Yeah.
I'm not even lying.
Yep.
And the last time I done that vision board was like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I keep saying every year, I'm going to do a vision board. Even talk to my kids, you know, we're going to do a vision board. And it's like, I never get it because life just gets so crazy.
Guess what we'll be doing at the Shack Noir?
When?
I don't know.
We should do it. We should happen. Like create an event before the end of the year and, you know, do a vision board party.
Right.
Like literally right here.
Because they're so helpful. I mean, that's literally why I'm with my partner now.
Yeah.
I was so sick of like meeting the people that I was meeting. Right. Ooh, so I don't know if I was vibrating on that level. Ooh, but I was like, oh no, chick, we're about to change this.
Yeah.
And I had written it down. Same thing of the salon. And then I meet Casey and we're hanging out, you know, month after month. And then I go back to the
vision
journal.
Board or the journal. Yeah.
And I'm like, doop. I mean, the stuff went from one page to the next. And I'm like, okay, I got really specific. I think the only thing I had put question marks by, because it was right after the pandemic. And I was like, I don't know if I can date outside my race right now. Like if I'm mentally and emotionally prepared for all the shit that we had gone through with George Floyd and just historically.
Right.
I think my tank was running low.
Yeah.
So I had question marks by that. And then if they wanted to have kids, you know, I was like, I don't know if I want to keep having children.
Yeah.
But everything else checked off the boxes. And I was like, okay, we'll just see what happens.
Just go with it.
And it's the longest relationship I've ever been in. Ever.
That's crazy.
At a year. So we're doing great.
Oh, congratulations, girl.
I'm like, that's, you know.
Oh my goodness.
It's a huge feat for me. But I had literally written everything down. You know what? Because I got it from Viola.
She sure did manifest her man.
Yes.
Yep, she did. Was she done an interview with Oprah?
Yes.
Yes.
And I thought when I saw that, I was like, that's corny as hell.
Girl, but it worked.
And Look I was at like, you know what? Let me do it though. Because I ain't done it for a partner.
And it's like, ain't nothing else working for me. So
exactly.
Look, might as well manifest
so let's
and
be
see
intentional.
What happens. And Miss Viola, honey.
She got what she got.
She did.
It's great.
And I think she and her husband played on that Michael Jordan movie together too. They were husband and wife.
I haven't seen that one yet.
It's pretty good.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't say go rush to see it, but like in your downtown, you ain't got nothing to do, watch it. It's cool. Like to see the birth of the shoe.
Yeah.
And how his mama was
ran that.
Baby.
Dang.
I ain't gonna get into it because it's so off topic, but yeah, check that out.
I gotta go see Renaissance too.
Oh yeah. My client was telling me about that Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So, Minnie, you have what I would consider a very inclusive environment, salon environment. And it's very crucial to have an inclusive space.
Right.
Especially for you. You know, you can do hair.
Right.
Not what we call white hair, black hair, which ain't even a thing, but you know, you do hair.
Right.
How do you ensure your salon is a welcoming environment for individuals of all races?
Yeah, that's a strong one, right? First of all, I think I look at hair as a fabric, right?
Mm-hmm. It is to some degree, right?
It's a fabric, right? So I always tell people when I'm teaching and educating, like, kinky hair does not just belong to Black people.
Right.
It belongs to everybody. It is on everybody.
Right.
Right. So we have to be flexible in that. And considering that every person with kinky hair has historically gone through something that has made them feel less than.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so for the Black community, we've dealt with good hair, bad hair,
right,
nappy hair, you know, and I'm like, after growing up in Pflugerville, I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood and town, but all of us were there.
Mm-hmm.
We were all there. So I grew up around all types of people where
right.
I didn't notice heavy racism.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was already used to being around all types of people. And I think as I got older, I started to understand systemically what was going on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, shit. You know, how do I create a space that is still welcoming to everybody and makes everybody feel good? And this has been, you know, it's been a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you open a space, you think about Black salons and the history of our salons and
right.
you know, what they've been for us. And I was like, okay, I want to change some things. You know, I hear the complaints of it's all day. I'm there all day for a relaxer, right. You know, I'm under the dryer forever. And she's taking 3 and 4 clients in between. But also, you know, I wanted to create the shift in that and change that up. But I also wanted to be mindful of other patrons that may come in that don't look like me. Right. And like, yes, there are people in here that maybe in your family that they don't like.
Right.
But you're going to learn to be okay with how we do things. It's
right.
all going to be okay.
Right.
Everybody here is capable of doing your hair, her hair, whatever it may be, their hair. But we were not going to change culturally how we like the music that is played, the Black art on the walls. We've been so used to having to step into their spaces and conform. And I don't need them to conform. I just want you to feel comforted. I want you to feel like this space is your home and everybody here can service you. Right. So that has been challenging because I think you are conditioned to kind of like look up and see the person walking through the door and oh man, you know, are they okay?
Is the environment fitting?
Right. But you're like going back to, is it the white way or the right way?
Right.
Right. Like, no, there's just a way. There's a way to take care of people, to do hair, to know that as a stylist, I can't really allow you to say you specialize if you don't touch every fabric. Right. And if you don't want to deal with this person or that person, then it needs to be localized as to like on like the attributes that person has, not because of their skin color or their hair texture. Because if you can't do that part, you need to go get education on that.
Absolutely.
And then you cannot work here if you don't know how to deal with the fabric.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I can understand and work with if you're not used to working with Black people.
Right.
White people.
Right.
Because that now we have the diversity and equity training, right? But I don't want to hear that you don't want to. You're not working here.
Right. Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, it's typically R&B playing, neo soul playing all the time, and you know, I try to keep it to where they're mindful of what the space is.
Good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're mindful of what the space is, and to get involved in the Black parts of.
Right.
Of that. I don't know if I'm saying all that right.
How do your clients respond? Like, how do your white clients respond to your environment? And if you are servicing a client with kinky hair, are there questions? Are they inquiring about what's going on with that particular service?
There is. And I think that's a weird one. Sometimes it's like, you know, you kind of get the gawking of like, oh, wow, your hair's so cool. And it's like, you know.
How do you feel? Is that an acceptable... I
think it's the space that they don't understand. They don't know. And
is it offensive for you? Is what I'm asking.
It is. It is offensive.
Even
for
if
me.
They are complimented in that way, still offensive for you?
I think it's more of the fawning, right? Because my question is, would you do that to a white client?
Right.
Oh my God, your hair is so beautiful. Oh my God, oh my God. Like I compliment, right? Like,
right.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Right.
Your hair is beautiful.
Yeah.
But like hovering above and like, oh my God.
Inquisitive.
Wow. How does it do that shit? I have to teach people like, don't do that.
Don't do
right?
that. Yeah.
Or like,
it's a lot of attention too.
If you're not going to do that to the white lady, don't do it
to the black lady.
black lady.
Yeah, like even I just had a recent experience where I'm currently at now because I'm not in the studio no more.
Right.
And my client was, I had made a wig for her, and she needed me to replace her closure. So that's the process. She take the closure off, replaced it with the new one.
Right.
And we went through the whole appointment.
Here we go.
And she had been there for about 4 hours maybe, because that alone sometimes can take an hour and a half because I have to do some adjustments to the wig according to how it done stretched out with the new closure or whatever the case may be. Might have to add even some more tracks because it done stretched
Shifted,
out.
yeah.
Right. So, I'm kind of finishing up on my client. And she literally leans over to the left because my station is directly in front of her stylist station.
Mm-hmm.
She literally leans over to the left. Mm-hmm. How long have you been doing her hair? What is she getting? I'm not lying. What is she getting?
First of all, mind your business. Second of all, that's not even professional.
That was the client, not the stylist.
Oh, okay.
No, not
okay. So this is the other stylist
client.
No, ma'am.
Yes, she did. And I just looked because at this point I'm trying not
to do
what they expect us to do anyway. And then it become, I'm the problem.
So how do we fix that? How do we woo, girl.
Yeah. So I was like, I didn't say, it was like that silence to let her know, you are wrong without me saying anything. So it's like that heavy pause, intentional silence. And also the look like this.
Yeah. The church look.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I said, she's getting her hair done. She's getting a wig.
Just like you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then she was like, oh, because I'm just saying she's been there for so long.
We didn't ask you to say.
My thing is, that means you've been here just as long because you noticed.
Right.
But if you look
around,
some of the same clients have been here just as long as you, her. Why are you
But we have to focus and bring the attention
on my client?
Yep.
In that moment, I was like, I can't stay here.
Yeah.
I was like, because if I can't express it how I want to express it, then I'm going to have to leave.
Are you the only black stylist there?
I am.
So it was funny. I was talking about this last night. Even though I grew up in Pflugerville, it kind of felt like my parents had moved to a space that was like, well, you need the good schools and
right.
white town.
Right.
Safe.
And going to the white schools were always better than going to a predominantly colored school.
Right. And, I know it's new developments out there, but my mom growing up, even though she had me in these white spaces, she would say things like, don't be the only black person in the room. Mm-hmm. And I never knew what she meant.
I was going to say, what does that mean?
Right. I learned as I got older. In my 30s, I learned, oh shit, no matter if you're with quote unquote friends, when you are typically the only black person in a room or in a space, and let's say something goes awry, or if there is a question or something is in question, you are now the focus. It is easy to call out the person that doesn't look like everybody else.
Right.
And I have dealt with that now as an adult so many times, where as a child, I didn't understand what she was talking about.
Right.
And just things start to become harmful.
Yeah.
Right? Because you become the focus. It's got to be them. They don't look like us.
Yeah.
They've got to be, this has got to be the issue here.
Right.
So, it's weird because I think I've made myself the only black person in my space at this point now. My staff is not black. But it's different because I own it.
Right.
So they trust me to guide them.
Right.
And to, motivate them and inspire them with the attributes and the character that I have.
Right.
Which is great.
Yeah.
But I will not be this vulnerable creature in a space in America.
Right.
people that don't look like me, because I do feel like when something does go awry, it's like you're the focal point. For sure. Like, for sure, I had to apologize to my mom. Like, I get what you're saying now.
Yeah. Sheesh, that was something real powerful for her to like say. It's such a, like, for you to be, you know, at a young age like that.
Yeah, and I never understood it. It's just like, Mom, you're being racist. And she's like, I'm not. I'm
not
just
at
telling
all.
you. It just is, it backfires. It's just the nature of this country.
Yeah. And she been around long enough, so honey, she know.
She knew.
Ooh.
For sure. Yeah.
Have you encountered any particularly successful approaches in creating a space where clients from diverse backgrounds feel respected and valued?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely like a space where I tell my clients, like, you come in, feel at home, you know, take your shoes off, do what you want to do, get cozy. You know, I've dealt with in the past. I remember working at the first salon I worked at, or the second as a stylist. And I will never forget, I was showing my mentor's client a photo of a person I was dating.
Okay.
Right. And this lady was super sweet. She was really sweet to me. And, you know, at times I would blow dry her hair, put her color on for my mentor. And, you know, one of these days she asked me, she was like, oh, let me see who you're dating. And I turn my phone around and I show her. And she was like, oh my God, Minnie. I'm like, what? Or she was like, I didn't expect this. I thought you were going to show me a picture of a brown boy. And I just was like, are you fucking kidding me? You know, like, are you kidding me? I just didn't even know stuff like that, like, was said in that kind of transaction. I'm like, no, I mean, he reached out to me. We went on a couple of dates. We're hanging out. Like, it's not anything. I'm not married. I'm not. But why are you saying this? And I felt trapped. I felt like if I respond the way I want to respond in the space that I'm in, I'm going to be seen as the aggressor.
Right. The problem.
Right. Because nobody else looks like me.
Right.
Right. So,
and also just the stereotype that comes with being a black woman. The angry black woman didn't just come from nowhere. Okay.
Right. It is also very systemic that I have to, when I'm in these spaces, behave the white way. Yes. Which in turn to me now at 39 years old, however I wanted to pop off should have been how I popped off.
Absolutely.
But
the right way.
Right. I did not feel safe to do that. And I'm like, I've got to respect this lady. I've got to take this and take these hits. And I kept taking hits like that. Yeah. You know, and when I opened this space, I told my staff, this is why I created this. Right. So that you all feel safe. So that my clients feel safe. So that your clients feel safe. Right. And should anyone make you feel unsafe or your clients feel harmed, all you got to do is call me. Right. Or call me over, because I will not let this happen. Right. And I don't care what Yelp review goes online. Yeah.
And that's another thing. I want us to get away from caring about that.
Right. Yeah. You know, this is not going to go down here. Right. It's not going to happen. So, you know, we'll assess the situation. You can explain it to me. They can explain it to me. But I'm not going to have anybody come in of my clientele, whether they be black, white, Asian, Indian, I don't care. Right. And they feel like they're not welcomed here. Right. Like, it's not going to happen. Yeah. I think that has been something that I've really been, I love that I can do. Right. Yeah. Right. Because I just remember not feeling safe in certain spaces. Yeah. And not like I felt like super unsafe, but I just didn't feel comfortable
to self-advocate.
Right. To advocate for
myself. And how do you do it? What's the right way to do it without coming off as the aggressor? You know, like in that situation with coworkers, client, you know, being so inquisitive about what I'm doing. Right. I didn't even know how to protect my client in that moment, because it's not even just about me in these moments. She's asking me about my client. Right. And I'm like, what if my client don't feel safe enough to come back no more because she feel like, you know, she's the center of attention because of what we do is so quote unquote elaborate. Right. It's like y'all were wearing wigs too. I mean, like, let's go back in the day. Marilyn Monroe, Elizabeth Taylor.
All wigs.
Like, y'all don't notice that those are frontals. Ain't nobody got the same hairline.
Right.
Those are frontals.
Right.
Stop acting like extensions is something black people only do.
Correct. So yeah, I mean, I think it's just a huge, it should be a part of every salon owner's, their business protocol, business strategy is to teach your stylist to make sure that your staff or that your clientele is also respectful of other people. Mm-hmm. Right.
And I will say the stylist did apologize.
She did?
Yes.
To you or to your client?
Only to me.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if she felt comfortable to talk to my client.
Yeah. I mean, and not everybody's like okay with being confrontational, but I am a confrontational type of person.
Right. I don't mind it at all.
I do not mind.
It's actually good. I don't know why it's looked at, it's like this, oh, you're being combative. It's like, no, confrontation is good. It's healthy.
Right.
As long as I'm being respectful.
Right.
Right. As long as I'm being respectful in my delivery, what's the problem?
Exactly. So, yeah.
So, Minnie.
Yes.
Navigating through your professional career as a cosmetology in the beauty industry, can you share any insightful information to any, inspiring cosmetologists or beautypreneurs out here, like some steps that you just wish you could start over and revisit and do different? Or, like, girl, drop them gems so that these people can be saved.
Through this, share your knowledge. Mm-hmm. Be open to all knowledge, right? You just grab what you can, grab what you will, and leave the rest, grab what works for you, leave the rest to the wayside. One of my biggest things was like getting more mature in my business. Yeah. And taking on more discipline. Mm-hmm. Right. In the beginning, I was wild. I was learning. I was still so passionate about hair, but just kind of all over the place. And then I started to build a network of stylists like yourself, people that inspire me, and having this support system of people that I could turn to, that I want to be like, right? Like if I aspire to be like this person, I'm going to put myself in their line of sight so that they at least know that I exist. So when I do need to open my mouth and ask a question, you're willing to share with me and pour into me. I think that was one of the biggest things, was like coming out of my shy pocket. And just saying, hey, I'm Minnie, this is what I do. I really look up to you, or I love what you're doing. Yeah. Can we go out to lunch? And I think that has been so beneficial to me, because you like to think that you can do this by yourself and that you can figure it out by yourself, but you can't.
It's going to take you longer. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. So, remaining true to who you are. I think I was always just like this wild, quirky, awkward hairstylist person. Mom,
in all the good ways.
Right. And just accepting that and not trying to mimic someone else, but staying true to who I was, but still knowing that I had all of these different people in different pockets that could pour into me. Yeah. Whenever I needed it. Yeah. That has been like one of the biggest things. And, these things that you learn from these older hairdressers, knowing your numbers, getting serious about your finances and those like things that you think you can get around.
Learn that now. Yeah,
don't shortcut it. Learn how to do things the right way, not the white way, just the right way, that are staples in any type of business when it comes to customer client facing business. Just show up for your clientele. Wow your clientele. Do those things that you don't have to spend a ton of money doing it. Just the smallest things work. Yeah, that's been like the major thing for me, because every day, I look at business owners and I'm like, we are fucking insane. Like, this is hard.
Ridiculous.
It's really, really hard. But if you're
entrepreneurship,
man, it's the craziest thing. I'm like, man, I get why people don't do this.
Absolutely.
But once you get into it and your knees are wet, like, you're not going to turn around. So, just staying true to what you love to do, who you are, and you can still flourish and be successful, being as awkward, as quirky, just as long as you keep those those major things together, your support system, asking those questions and being disciplined enough to like show up for yourself. Yourself, which is, you're like
that's
your money
important.
And, taking care of yourself, self-care.
Yeah,
all that
because
shit.
if you ain't taking care of yourself, you can't show up for nothing.
Yeah.
I don't care. I've been down that road where it's like I'm doing everything for everyone.
Yeah.
And then me, it's like, oh, I'll deal with that later.
Yeah, creating boundaries was one of the biggest things in my business.
Yeah, that's a good one. Creating those boundaries.
And,
from
taking
the
that
jump.
time for yourself and saying it is okay. Give yourself permission.
Yeah.
To say like, it's fine if I say no to this.
No.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like no is that non-cursing word. It's literally worse than F you.
Yeah.
It is.
And people feel bad about it, but I had to learn to be okay, because I remember sitting in my the second salon I worked at, and I was sitting with Shelly, and I'm like, I just say yes to everything, and I'm so damn tired.
Right.
I'm so tired. And she was like, if you need help with this, just like come to me first. Tell me what it is that you're about to say yes to,
right,
and we'll work together and say no. And like that was the start of me learning to say no.
And then you feel bad. You got to get through that process.
In the beginning, you start to feel bad, but after a while it's like, this is normal for me.
And it's healthy.
Yeah.
I feel better saying no. Yeah.
I can give you 110%. If I say yes, I'm probably going to give you about 60.
And that's what people don't get. Yep.
So I appreciate all of those things that I've like taken on in my business, and that sharing it with other people. Like, no, you don't have to work the weekends to be successful.
Nope.
You can train people that you're only here on these days.
Yeah. And they will
come.
They will literally book accordingly. Yeah. If they really want your services, trust me, they will make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Minnie, tell our listeners how to stay connected to you.
Yes. So I am on Instagram, Shag Noir Salon, and then you can follow my personal page where I'm just sharing bits of my work, my life, my silliness, my child, and that is Imagine a Minnie. And then I am also on LinkedIn as Minnie Little and Shag Noir. And I don't stay on that too much, but I check into it.
Yes, it's bomb though. LinkedIn is boring, but it's
so
very
boring.
Beneficial.
Yeah. I don't do the Twitter thing. It's a little bit too much for me. But yeah, Facebook, I'm not on there too much. Instagram's really my medium. TikTok, I'm trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, Auntie Minnie on TikTok. But yeah, or come hang out at the salon on East 6th Street.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Thank you.
We dove deep into the strands of significance surrounding numbers in the beauty industry, the delicate dance between sharing knowledge and gatekeeping, navigating boundaries as a Black-owned business, and the blurred lines of what constitutes bad customer service. Our exploration extended to the intricacies of mixed-race spaces in salons, emphasizing the importance of fostering environments that are both safe and inclusive for everyone. Before we part ways, make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave us a rating, and share your thoughts with a review. Your feedback fuels the conversation. Join us next time as we continue to unravel the interwoven threads of hair care, business, and community. Until then, keep listening, keep learning, and remember, your hair tells a story, and so do you. This is Kinetra signing off from Hear What I'm Saying. Stay fabulous and stay tuned for more intriguing discussions.